Join me, besties. Let's make this cowl drape kimono dress. Like, this dress is very easy to make, like really simple to make, and also very quick to make. In fact, to make this dress, we only need to draft just 2 patterns, the front and the back, and really that's it. It is as simple as that. So without saying so much, let's head over to the table and start drafting our patterns. So to start drafting our patterns, we are going to need our dartless bodice block. Okay, now if you don't have the dartless bodice block and you want to draft with your regular bodice block, that is still fine, but I would advise that you start drafting with the back side. Draft the back side first, so that you will not have challenges with this shoulder dart. So once you draft this one, then you can use this to draft the front side. So it's a boo-boo dress, or it's a kimono dress, so the front and back, it's almost going to be exactly the same thing. But if you start drafting with this front bodice, you're going to have a little bit of challenge here because the shoulders are not going to match. But if you draft it with the back side, it's going to be a lot easier for you. And then you're just going to ignore this darts. It's a boo-boo anyways. Okay, so I'm going to use my dartless bodice. Okay, so you're going to trace your bodice block as usual. Just trace it out like this. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to modify your neckline. So for my neckline, I want it to be a V neckline. So you're going to just measure downwards how much you need. Now let me measure from the shoulder tip here. So from my shoulder tip here, so I'm going to be measuring downwards about, say, 20 cm. So my 20 cm is just here. And then on this other part here, I'm going to take off 2 cm from the shoulder because I want it to be a little bit open. And then I'm going to connect this nicely like so. Okay, so this is my V neckline. So we don't need this part anymore. Okay, now once you've done that, the next thing you're going to do will be for you to lengthen your dress. So you're going to lengthen it according to how long you want it to be. So for me, I want my dress to be just at about just slightly below my knee. So I'll be using, let me use my tape measure to measure it. So just from the tip of my shoulders, like so. So my measurement is actually about 112 cm from the tip of my shoulder to my full length. That's about 43 or 44 inches. Okay, so once you have that, you are going to just place your hemline. So this is going to be my hemline. This is how long I want my dress to be. Then you're going to just drop your hip line in a straight line. So drop it down like this. Okay, good. So I just dropped my hip line from here to my hemline. That's all I've done. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now will be for us to add our sleeve. So depending on how long you want it to be, you can determine how long you want your sleeve to be. So for me, I want to do my sleeve, long sleeve, down to my wrist. The reason is because I want to pull it. I want to put an elastic and then pull it up. So the length of my sleeve is about 60 cm. So I'm going to add 60 cm to my shoulder tip here. So I'm just going to use my meter rule, and then I'm going to add 60 cm. So that's where my 60 cm stops. So I can just actually, let me draw this shoulder with my pen. Okay, so yeah. So once you've done that, the next thing we're going to do, this is a big pattern, I hope you can see it. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to measure the opening of where our hand is going to pass through. Okay, now you are going to actually decide how wide you want it to be. Now if you want it very small, you want it to be fitted on your wrist like this, you can take the measurement here and then use that measurement here. But for me, I don't want it fitted here. I want it a little big, a little bit wide, and I want to put elastic for it so that I can push it up to wherever I want. So I'm going to measure from here now about 25 cm. So from here to here, that's 25 cm. Okay, good. So that when I put an elastic, it will gather it a little bit. So depending on how you want your sleeve, you can do it like that, depending on how wide you want your sleeve opening. Now the next thing would be, you're going to measure from here a little bit, say about 5 cm. Just measure a straight line like this, about 5 cm. Now once you've done that, the next thing will be to go to your hemline. Now you come to your hemline, you are going to measure where you want your drape to start from. So you're going to just place your tape measure here and then measure upwards. So from my hemline upwards, I'm going to measure about 33 cm. So you just place your mark like this. Now you can bring it a little lower if you like. You can also take it a little higher if you like. But I want this place to be a little fitted so that it will look nice and neat. Now it really depends on your preference. So once you decide where you want it to be, just mark it like so. And then the next thing you're going to do is you are going to connect this point to this point like so. You're just going to draw a big circle. Is it a circle? Yeah, something like that, and just connect it. But first of all, I want to do this with my pencil so that if I make a mistake, I can easily rub it off. So you see, you're going to have something like this. All right. Okay, so because I'm happy with this, I'm just going to use my French curve to redraw it. But before then, you don't want this place to be sharp. So you're going to take your French curve and then smoothing it out very nicely. Blend it in like so with your French curve. Okay, so you just blend it in like so. All right, and then on this side too, this sleeve side too, you're just going to also blend it in very nicely because we don't want pointy edges. Okay, so if you are happy with the way it is, then you can use your French curve to just smoothing it out nicely or redraw it out nicely the way you want it. So once you are happy with the way it is, the next thing we are going to do will be for us to just add our seam allowance to it. So you're going to add about 1.5 cm seam allowance all around. Okay. Okay, so once you've added your seam allowance, the next thing would be for you to trim off your pattern. So we're going to have our pattern just like this. Easy peasy, right? So the next thing we're going to do now would be for us to draft the back patterns. So now for the back side, you're also going to trace out your back bodice block, and then you are going to modify the neckline. So for me, I'm just going to mark the neckline downward, say about 2 cm, or say about 1.5 cm, depending on how deep you want yours to be. It really depends on you. And then on this part, I'm also going to take off 2 cm so that it will balance up with the front neckline. So you use your French curve to connect them nicely. Okay, so once you've done that, now you're going to add your seam allowance here. So let me just add my seam allowance, 1.5 cm seam allowance. And then you also add seam allowance to the shoulder line as well, 1.5 cm seam allowance. Okay, good. So once you've done that, now you're going to take your front pattern so that you can place it directly on top of your back pattern, so that both patterns will mirror themselves and they will match very well. So I'm just going to place it now. Remember, I added seam allowance to the front pattern, so just place them so that the shoulder tip will match with the shoulder tip of the back. So you see, place it like so and like this. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Place the shoulder tip here. Oh no, not the shoulder tip, the neck tip, sorry. Place the neck tip here so that they match, the front and the back, they match very well. And then just make sure that this pattern is like so. Okay, and then you can put your pattern weight or anything to hold your pattern pieces together. So we're just going to trim off these pattern pieces. So we're just going to trim off the back side so that we will have the front and the back patterns. Okay. So once you finish trimming it, you're going to have your back pattern just like this. All right, so you see, you have your front and your back pattern pieces, and really these are the 2 pattern pieces you need for this dress. Easy peasy, right? Now let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know whether this was really easy for you to follow. Okay, so this part here that is big like this is what is going to form the drape. Okay, so now we're going to now place this on our fabric and then cut them out. Okay, so you can either create a facing to turn your neckline if you want, or you can either pipe your neckline. Whichever one you're comfortable with is fine. Now just one little tip I want to give here is for your front part, for you to get a very nice V shape here at this pointed edge, it'll be nice for you to cut this pattern 2 pieces so that it will have a seam at the center front. Okay, it's usually easier that way, especially if you're a beginner, but if you want to cut this on fold, it also works as well. Okay, now for the back side, we're going to cut the back side on fold. So we place this on the folded edge of our fabric and then cut them out. Okay, so now let's place them on our fabric and then cut out our pattern pieces. So I'm using Ankara fabric to make this cowl drape dress, and then you will need about maybe 3 or 3.5 meters of fabric. Well, it depends on the length of your dress, and also it depends on how big your drape is. Okay, so remember to fold your fabric into 2. I've already folded mine, and I place the back side here, the center back here on the folded edge of my fabric. So once you finish cutting, you are going to go ahead and overlock the raw edges so that you have a very clean finishing. And the next thing would be for you to join the center front. If you have a seam at the center front, join them together and then open press your seam allowance so that it will lie very flat. Now you're going to take the front pattern piece and then you're going to place the back pattern piece on it. So this is the front, the right side of the front with the right side of my back, the right side of my back fabric. So you place them like this. So you just place them on top like this. So you're going to go ahead to join the shoulders together. So you join the shoulder all the way down to the sleeve hem, all the way down. Then you open press your seam allowance. You're going to join the other shoulder as well. And then once you finish doing that, you are going to leave this part open. This is the sleeve opening. And then you're going to come to the edge here. And then you're going to join this one from the edge. From this part here, you're just going to join it all the way down to the hemline. So you join it all the way down to the hemline. Once you finish joining them, please open press your seam allowance so that it will lay very flat. All right. So once you finish joining the shoulders and the side seam, you're going to have something like this. Now the next thing would be for us to finish off the neckline. So there are two ways you can finish off the neckline. You can either go ahead to pipe the neckline, or you can use a facing to turn the neckline. Now if you want to use the piping method, I've already shown a tutorial where or how you can actually do piping. I have several tutorials on that. Even the very last tutorial here shows how to make your piping very nicely. Now for this particular one, I want to use a facing. So I've cut the facing for the back, and then I've also cut the facing for the front. I've also shown tutorials on how to turn or how to make your facing. So if you're a little confused, just check on one of my tutorials on how to cut your facing. So I'm now going to remember to also add fusible to your facing so that your neckline will be a little bit sturdy. Okay, so I'm just going to go and turn my neckline now. Join my facing like so on the shoulders, like that, and on the center front before I'll use it to turn my neckline. Okay, so once you finish turning your neckline, you're going to have something like this, nice and neat. And the next thing we're going to do will be for us to fold in our sleeve hem. Now you're going to take your sleeve hem, and then you're just going to fold it in like that, and then give it a very good press. You can see that I've already done mine. Fold it in about 1.5 cm and press it all around. And then for your hemline, you are also going to fold it in. Now you see, for the hemline, I just folded it in a little bit like so, and then folded it in again just like this. Okay, and then you're going to stitch from one end all around to the other end. Now make sure you press it so that your hemline will be even, and so that your hemline will look nice and neat. Now when you're stitching your sleeve hem, you are going to stitch and leave a little opening. So let's assume you're going to start from somewhere here. You stitch all around all the way down to somewhere here. So leave a little opening, say about 2 cm, like so. Just leave it open so that you can pass through, you can pass your elastic through all around. Okay, so let me join mine and then show it to you. So once you finish stitching the sleeve hem, we're going to now pass through our elastic, but we're going to cut it first. So you're just going to take your elastic, and then you measure where you want it to be, where you want your sleeve to be, where you want to pull your sleeve through. So mine will be somewhere around here, or maybe slightly in. So you just place it like this. Don't stretch your elastic, place it like that, and then you cut it, and then use it to cut another one. Okay, So you take your safety pin and then you just place it like so. So the little opening that you left, see the little opening that I left, you're just going to pass your elastic through. Now if you don't want these other parts to go off, you can just stick it nicely on one side. Hold it nicely with a pin. So that's what I do most times. I just pin it like this so that it doesn't go off. Okay, so once you pull it out like so, you take off your pin and then you place it on top of themselves. See, just place it on top like this, maybe about 1 cm or 1.5 cm on top, just like so. And then you go ahead and stitch it several times. So you stitch it very, very well so that it doesn't loosen. Okay. So once you finish installing your elastic, you're going to have something like this. Okay. And now you still have your opening. So you just place it like this and then you go ahead to stitch it. Now before you stitch it, make sure you fit your dress first to see how it looks. If your elastic doesn't look tight enough, or if you're not happy with the outcome, then you can easily just adjust it before you close this opening. Okay, so once you've done that, you're actually done with making your dress. Nice, right? Just look at how this dress is. What do you say? Please let me know in the comment section. And if you found this tutorial helpful, as always, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with your sewing buddies, okay? And if you have not already subscribed yet, please do well to subscribe so that when I post new videos, you are going to see them immediately, okay? So thank you very much. I'll see you again in my next class. Bye bye.